English Hour. Hello and welcome once again to English Hour. Tonight we'll conclude our series of programs based on the diary of Anne Frank. It is in tonight's program that we find Anne Frank's diary coming to a sudden and tragic end. That story tonight on English Hour.
The Diary of Anne Frank, Part 7. Anne Frank, her parents and sister, and 4 other Jewish people are still in hiding from the Nazis in the secret annex, the sealed-off back rooms of an Amsterdam office building. Anne is continuing to write a daily account in her diary, which she has nicknamed Kitty.
Tuesday, the 11th of April, 1944. Dear Kitty, at 9:30, Peter knocked softly on the door and asked Daddy if he would just help him upstairs over a difficult English sentence. That's a blind, I said to Margot. Anyone could see through that one. I was right. They were in the act of breaking into the warehouse. Daddy, Van Daan, Dussel and Peter were downstairs in a flash. Margot, Mummy, Mrs. Van Daan and I stayed upstairs and waited. 4 frightened women just have to talk. So talk we did, until we heard a bang downstairs. After that, all was quiet. The clock struck 10:15. The colour had vanished from our faces. We were still quiet, although we were afraid. Where could the men be? What was that bang? Would they be fighting the burglars? 10 o'clock. Footsteps on the stairs. Daddy, white and nervy, entered, followed by Mr. Van Daan. Lights out, creep upstairs. We expect the police in the house. Peter had heard 2 loud bangs on the landing, ran downstairs and saw there was a large plank out of the left half of the door. He dashed upstairs, warned the home guard of the family, and the 4 of them proceeded downstairs. When they entered the warehouse, the burglars were in the act of enlarging the hole. Without further thought, Van Daan shouted, "Police!" A few hurried steps outside, and the burglars had fled. They wanted to put the plank in front of the hole. Interruption. A married couple outside shone a torch through the opening, lighting up the whole warehouse. The 4 of them sneaked upstairs. Peter quickly opened the doors and windows of the kitchen and private office, flung the telephone onto the floor, and finally the 4 of them landed behind the swinging bookcase. End of part 1. The married couple with the torch would probably have warned the police. It was Sunday evening, Easter Sunday. No one at the office on Easter Monday, so none of us could budge until Tuesday morning. Think of it, waiting in such fear for 2 nights and a day. No one had anything to suggest, so we simply sat there in pitch darkness, because Mrs. Van Daan in her fright had unintentionally turned the lamp right out. Talked in whispers, and at every creak one heard, "Shh, shh." Footsteps in the house, in the private office, kitchen, then on our staircase. No one breathed audibly now. Footsteps on our staircase, then a rattling of the swinging bookcase. This moment is indescribable. "Now we're lost," I said, and could see us all being taken away by the Gestapo that very night. Twice they rattled at the bookcase. Then there was nothing. The footsteps withdrew. We were saved so far. A shiver seemed to pass from one to another. I heard someone's teeth chattering. No one said a word. There was not another sound in the house, but a light was burning on our landing, right in front of the bookcase. Could that be because it was a secret bookcase? Perhaps the police had forgotten the light. Would someone come back to put it out? Tongues loosened. There was no one in the house any longer. This affair has brought quite a number of changes with it. Mr. Dussel no longer sits downstairs in Crowler's office in the evenings, but in the bathroom instead. Peter goes round the house for a checkup at 8:30 and 9:30. Peter isn't allowed to have his window open at nights anymore. No one is allowed to pull the plug after 9:30. This evening, there's a carpenter coming to make the warehouse doors even stronger. Sunday morning, just before 11 o'clock, 16th of April, 1944. Darlingest Kitty, remember yesterday's date, for it's a very important day in my life. Surely it is a great day for every girl when she receives her first kiss. Well then, it's just as important for me too. How did I suddenly come by this kiss? Well, I'll tell you. Yesterday evening at 8 o'clock, I was sitting with Peter on his divan. It wasn't long before his arm went round me. "Let's move up a bit," I said, "then I don't bump my head against the cupboard." He moved up almost into the corner. I laid my arm under his and across his back, and he just about buried me because his arm was hanging on my shoulder. Now, we've sat like this on other occasions, but never so close together as yesterday. He held me firmly against him, my left shoulder against his chest. Already my heart began to beat faster, but we hadn't finished yet. He didn't rest until my head was on his shoulder and his against it. When I sat upright after about 5 minutes, he soon took my head in his hands and laid it against it once more. Oh, it was so lovely. I couldn't talk much. The joy was too great. He stroked my cheek and arm a bit awkwardly, played with my curls, and our heads lay touching most of the time. I can't tell you, Kitty, the feeling that ran through me all the while. I was too happy for words, and I believe he was as well. We got up at 8:30. Peter put on his gym shoes so that when he toured the house he wouldn't make a noise, and I stood beside him. How it came so suddenly, I don't know. But before we went downstairs, he kissed me. Through my hair, half on my left cheek, half on my ear. I tore downstairs without looking round, and I'm simply longing for today.